Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Will with Schedule Fly, and I'm stoked today to have Tarra Leatherwood on the phone. Tarra is in Greenville, North Carolina, and works at Sup Dogs. And if you follow any of the content we put out, our podcasts, our books, our films, you know about Sup Dogs, you know about Brett Oliverio. It's one of the coolest stories I've ever come across. Brett owns Sup Dogs. He's one of the best guys I've come across in the entire hospitality business. It's just a phenomenal place. And we're really excited to serve them. And Tarra is they've got two locations, Greenville, North Carolina, and Chapel Hill. And Tarra is in Greenville. And so at Sup Dogs, they kind of do everything. They're servers, they're bartenders. This place is packed all the time. So if you're working there, you're hustling and working really hard. So Tarra, thanks so much for taking the time to come on today.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So I always ask people, how did you get started in hospitality? Is it at Sup Dogs, or did you have a career in hospitality before that?
No, I actually had one other serving job in Greenville before Sup Dogs, so I just kind of started it while I was in college just to make money on the side a little bit. And I actually had my roommate in college. One of my roommates, she worked at Sup Dogs. She would just tell me how awesome it is there. I loved going there, and I hated my serving job that I had before. And she was like, "Just come work with me, come work with me." And not long after that, I ended up getting a job there, and I've been there ever since. I have so much heart invested in that place. It's almost hard for me to leave just because everyone there is so awesome. Like you said, Brett is just so awesome.
Okay, so you had a job. You were serving in another place. You couldn't stand that, and you love Sup Dogs. So what's so different? What about it is so much different than where you were before? Tell me about where you were before first. You don't have to tell me where it was, but just what was the culture like? What did you not like about it?
Yeah. So this place was a little bit away from the college area. It was probably 10 minutes off campus area. It was cool. It was a little bit of an older crowd. It's definitely it was a chill place. It just not nowhere in Greenville has the culture of Sup Dogs. From our staff to the people that come in, just to the treatment that we get by our owners and managers. I feel like a lot of owners just don't invest in their employees, and it's just very personal at Sup Dogs. You know what I mean? You don't get the treatment and the care that from the people that own your business. Brett just values everyone that works for him and comes in so much, and that's just, you don't get that anywhere else. Managers at the other place I worked at just didn't overworked, underappreciated type deal. You know what I mean? Which is hard. You're working a college bartending serving job, and that's a big thing. Your employees are investing in you, and you kind of have to invest in them as well. You know what I mean?
No, I do, and that's an interesting thing because y'all, you said underworked or overworked and underappreciated previously. You're certainly not underworked now. Y'all work really, really hard.
Oh yeah.
There's the part of this. I always find this an interesting piece because you hear people saying, "Oh, my staff doesn't want to work hard" and all that. I think that people do want to work hard if they buy into you and what you're doing.
Yeah,
definitely. If you lead them. So you guys work real hard there, but from what I'm hearing from you, that Brett appreciates that. I'm going to guess you probably see him working really hard too, and he leads by example. But he clearly has, and it sounds to me, and I mean, I've seen this personally, so I know this is the case, but just listening to you, it certainly sounds like it's a genuine thing. He truly does care for his staff. He's not just checking in to, sort of go off a checklist of things I need to do. He really does care about the people that work for him.
Yeah, I can't say it enough. I'll talk to my friends, and I'll talk to people that don't even, I have friends from out of town that I'm very close with and don't even personally know Brett or know Sup Dogs, and just know about it from what I say. And they just tell me all the time, they're you're just so blessed to just have an owner and managers like you do. And I'm I know, it's just such a good foundation that he's built, and their whole family is just so awesome. And it's funny because we talked about it the other day. There's such a common misconception. People come into Subs and they'll see Brett once in a while and be oh, you're here, like you're never here, like it's crazy that you're here. I've never seen you here, and we just laugh about it because I'm like, okay, you're here. The 3 shifts that were open 7 days a week, like, and you know that I'm not here. Like
Right. Yeah.
we're here so often, and it's just like people come in and out so quick, and just have this like judge that like, oh, we're not here, and in the meantime we're like slaving like day in and day out, mornings, nights, like it depends.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Well, so what else about Sup Dogs? Like you said, nowhere else really has that culture in Greenville. I mean, which is a little surprising because, I mean, it's a college town. It's a fun college town. It's widely known as a fun college town. There's a lot of students there. Like, what's happening at Sup Dogs that's nobody else has figured out?
Like, it's cool too, just because I've been at Sup Dogs for a little over 3 years now. So, and we've grown so much. Like everything has changed so much, and we've gotten so much bigger. Like with the rooftop, with the new deck, and so like our staff has just increased in size so much throughout the time. Like I actually saw a picture the other night that I was looking back about when I first started our staff size, and it's just so crazy to me to like see how much we've actually grown just in 3 years. But the one thing that just hasn't changed is like our culture as a staff, like with Brett and Brett's family, and like every year we do at least like 2 staff outings, which is just really cool to me. Like Brett like closes the restaurant early, like gets the whole staff together. Like we normally go out to dinner, like we go out for drinks, and he just pays for the whole thing. It just kind of like a light. Normally happens like in the summer when we're slower, right before we're about to get absolutely insane with school coming back and like football season and whatnot. And that's just really cool to me. Like, what other restaurant do you know that their owner takes their entire staff out and just takes them to a nice dinner, like pays for everything, pays for drinks, and just like wants us to have a good time, just to like kick back, because we do get so insane during the year. And like that's just one little thing, he doesn't have to do that, and that's just really cool. And another thing that like he kind of gives back to us for just giving all to him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's really unique. That's fantastic.
And just the relationship we have as a staff, like we get so crazy, and we butt heads sometimes in the moment, but at the same time, like it's such a big like circle of teamwork. Like if one person's like, you just have to look out for each other the whole time, and that's also the cool part. It's just like he's just built a really cool dynamic inside the restaurant that people don't really get to like see, just because it's always behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah, you're looking. I mean, I imagine you guys then. It sounds like you value the culture and what you have there so much. I would assume you kind of sort of self-police a lot of this stuff. Like people that come in that maybe don't get it, or maybe not, dialing into what you're trying to do. Like y'all probably manage a lot of that yourselves. I would guess.
Yeah, definitely.
So what do you, outside of just Sup Dog, and it sounds like being at Sup Dogs is a big part of this, but I'm just curious, like what draws you to hospitality? Like what do you enjoy the most about what you do, serving and bartending, and I mean putting out fires and running around like crazy and all that stuff? Like that's exhausting work, but what's exciting about it?
Yeah, it's crazy. There are times I feel like I'm losing my head, but at the same time, it's just there are so many people that come into the restaurant, like so many different types of people, and I just like just the whole people. I'm a people person. I like meeting people. I like talking to people. I like just seeing how other people interact, and that's like a big thing of Sup Dogs. Like people, I'll be waiting on a family with kids at a table outside on the deck, and just like playing with their kids, like talking to them about travels and stuff like that. And at the same time, I have a table inside of 12 college kids that are just drinking, and I know like I've had classes with, and that's just a really cool thing because we can all like gel together in the restaurant. It's never like a weird thing,
Yeah.
Even days where it's like slow and I'm like, oh, it's like I'm kind of bored, like during the week, and then I'll get a like cool group of people that I've never met before will come sit at the bar, and then I get to wait on them and talk and like kind of just always meeting people, and I go out whenever I go out of Sup Dogs, or I'll go like have a drink somewhere. There's just always people that know, like, oh, I've seen you before. I'm like, yeah, I work at Sup Dogs, and then it's just like a whole other relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool. That's like one of my favorite parts about it. Just the volume that we do and the amount of people that I get to interact with. It's just really Never a dull moment, I always say, I guess.
No, I'm sure there's not there. What you one thing it seems to me like working in a restaurant is I feel like you learn a lot about yourself, like your strengths and weaknesses and things like that. Have you learned things about yourself in the last few years of working there?
Definitely. Before, I'm not gonna lie, before I started working at Sup Dogs, I'm a very calm, like chill person, I'd say, but patience level 15 out of 10. Like after working there for 3 years, I have learned so much patience. Like I've just learned like I don't know, just sometimes it's just better. People are just the way they are sometimes, you know? And
Yep.
you just have to, like, keep your inner peace with that. So I've definitely learned that. I've learned that I make a little bit more mistake. Like, I'll catch myself making more mistakes when I'm slower now, which is pretty crazy. So, like, when I'm busy and I'm in the zone, it's just everything just is moving, and I don't even think twice about anything, you know? When I'm slow, I'm like, oh, did I do that? Did I make that mistake?
That's interesting.
Which is
Well,
funny.
maybe it's like your mind can't even wander when you're fat, when
I
when it's
know,
packed, and then
right?
your mind can wander around a little bit when it's slow. And okay, well that's
Yeah,
cool.
that's what I've learned. Yeah, but patience, oh, so much patience. Which is
What?
a valued trait. I'm so, like, that's a good one for me. That's like a good growing trait to find. And I feel like with Sup Dogs, I don't think I would have half the patience that I have now at this point.
No, I'm thoroughly convinced. Like I think that working in a restaurant, particularly on well, in the kitchen too, but I mean in the floor like that, when you're having to interact with people, different groups of people all at once, different types of people that are in different moods, that are celebrating different occasions, and you're having to think through all of the things that they need at all the different tables, and especially there where you're serving drinks too, and the amount of stuff you have to do and get right during a short period
Oh,
of time
yeah.
is significant. So I feel like it's a great, like whatever you wind up doing, you'll take so many lessons from working in a restaurant like that. Like you said, you've already learned a lot about the importance of patience, and I mean, if God, that will serve you well in anything you do. When you have kids one day, I know, trust me, I know it is, but but you know, but yeah, I mean, you just learn a ton about, I
Yeah.
mean, if you can, basically, if you can do well there and manage all that stress and all that chaos, there's not a lot of other things,
Oh,
that you
yeah,
would do that,
definitely.
that would seem more challenging. But, well, let me ask you this. You've said a lot of good things about Brett. I know his whole family's involved, and but what have you learned from him or from any of the folks that run Sup Dogs over the years? Like anything that you feel like you've learned while you've been there that you'll carry forward as you move forward in your career?
You mean
I don't know, like
like personality traits or like
anything, like
in the
anything you learn
workplace,
from
anything?
anything you've learned that you said, like you kind of feel like if you wouldn't have maybe learned if you weren't there, but things that you maybe admire about Brett or his wife or anybody there, or things that you've kind of picked up from them from working with them.
I would say like one of the biggest things about Brett and his wife Jenny and their whole family that I love so much is just that like the restaurant industry like was never Brett's thing, you know, like he
Yeah.
said in like plenty of interviews and stuff, and like when Derek passed and he knew he had to carry on that legacy, like that was all learned for him, you know, like they're still learning, like he talks about things like they're still learning how to do it every day, you know, learning how to like manage both the restaurants and just make sure everything is going the right way. And that's like a big thing because it's just like you can turn around and learn any trait that if you really like put everything into it, you know what I mean? Like, and that was a really cool thing to watch grow, especially in the past 3 years, just with Chapel Hill growing and building their porch, and then I've seen our deck go through 3 renovations since I've been at ECU, which is crazy. And now, like, it's just so much different, but still just holds that same soul that it always started with, which is my favorite part. And that's just kind of the most thing that I admire about Brett and his family. It's just like they haven't lost that little Sup Dogs touch, you know? And
Well,
also, too, just like when they're inside the restaurant, like they're always interacting with people and doing the best that they can to help us while still like holding that foundation, which is really awesome.
no, that really is awesome. I mean,
And
so
like Jenny will bring in their daughter and Stella's bouncing around inside. Like, it's just a really cool environment, and I just appreciate everything that they do so much, and just the fact that they picked up that out of nothing and just have made it what it is.
Yeah,
really cool.
I mean, a steep learning curve. I mean, so if y'all are listening, I mentioned, Brett, some of the stuff we've done with him and Sup Dogs before, but if you go to Sup Dogs website, so SUPDOGS, supdogs.com, and click on our story, you'll see a film on there that we shot a few years ago with Brett called The Story of Sup Dogs. It's literally the most amazing story I've ever come across in the restaurant business, and frankly in business. I mean, it's just a wonderful story. It'll make you both cry and cheer. So go.
It will definitely make you cry.
Yeah, that's for sure. So go check that out, because it really is an amazing story. And if you're ever in Greenville or Chapel Hill, check out Sup Dogs. You'll have a fun time. You'll have a great time. It's guaranteed, no questions asked. You will. They do a wonderful job. Brett and Jenny and the whole team, and Tarra. And all the folks on the floor there. So, hey, Tarra, thank you a ton for doing this. I really appreciate it. You're real kind with your time to take the time to do this. And we love serving y'all, and I just appreciate you committing to do this really very much.
Yeah, of course. It's no problem at all. I love Sup Dogs. I love everyone who works at Sup Dogs. I just love the image. It's all really great to me. And anytime you want to chat about it, I'm always here.
And that's awesome. Well, there you go, folks. That's what you can inspire when you genuinely care about your team. Well, cool. All right, Tarra, have a good one. Y'all get after it down there, and I hope the weather stays nice and cool and dry this fall, so you have a great time up on the new rooftop. And
Thank you.
If we can ever do anything for you, let me know.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, take care.